many of us are war wounded, in fact, who were raised with the idea that we were born into sin, and that we, and that we could go to hell for the slightest, most stupid infraction. And all of a sudden, in my lifetime, I have seen the New Thought movement become an absolute phenomenon in our country. Our Emerson Institute is teaching globally these ideas. People are ready for this in an evolutionary way. And the thought the Spirit gave me, which I thought was so appropriate and cute, Spirit said, you are incandescent bulbs. And as you evolve and as you embrace and allow the power that is yours, taking, if you will, the electricity right out of the air, or the power that Spirit is, your little incandescent light goes from a 20 to a 40 to a 80 to a 120 to halogen. And if you haven't seen Google Earth and the planet at night, you really should take a look at it. But that was the image that Spirit gave me. As each one of us evolves into who we are, it's not something we have to do or earn or any of that. It is what we are. Those lights turn up, and that's what it looks like from space, people. You get that? It's so beautiful. That's the kind of power we're talking about. That the UFOs that are flying out there goes, oh, Ginny's evolved. Her light's brighter than last time we passed by here. My mother is a Jehovah's Witness, and I know how ironic that is, because my parents raised me as Christian Zionists. And then she took me into the occult to help me to learn about astrology and all of that stuff, and develop my psychic abilities. Excuse me. And then she went into becoming a Jehovah's Witness. Go figure out. But the thing is that for her evolutionary place, that's appropriate for her at this time. She has those ideas. In fact, she asked me not too long ago, she said, are you, what's the one that's the cult, the religious,
Scientology.
Yes, thank you. Are you a Scientologist? And I said, no, Mom, I'm a religious Zionist. She goes, what is that about? And I said, well, it's kind of like Christian Science, except it's easier. She goes, okay, I can deal with that. Okay, her soul is saved. But I came across something in Ernest Holmes' work that was so incredibly appropriate. I have to share it with you, and it's on page 32. You guys can get out your books today and study up. But he says, we are afraid of the universe in which we live, suspicious of other people, the people around us, uncertain of the salvation of our own souls. All of these things negatively react and cause physical problems. Nature seems to await our comprehension of her, and since she is governed by immutable laws, the ignorance of which excuses no man from the effects of the bondage of humanity, must be a result of our ignorance of the true nature of reality. The storehouse of nature may be filled with the good, but the good is locked to the ignorant. The key to this door is held in the mind of intelligence, working on acceptance with universal law. As man's intelligence increases and his capacity to understand the subtle laws of nature, as that grows, he will gradually be set free. As he learns the truth will automatically free him. And when we learn to trust the universe, we shall be happy, prosperous, and well. When I was in Al-Anon all these years ago, someone gave me a little card that had little clear sticky things on it, and you would put it on your bathroom mirror about eye level, and it said, you're looking at the problem. And that stuck in my head. Is that any and all problems are mine. They're in my consciousness. They're in how I perceive something. Last Sunday, I witnessed a miracle. And it was such a simple thing. It was just an amazing thing. But my ex-husband Luis is a healer and a brilliant tarot reader. And I had a friend who was troubled who came over to have him assist her. And she chose this one card to represent her mother. Luis had nothing to do with it. And she said this to the universe, this is my mother. And he laid the card down and he said, your mother loved her family very much. And my friend said, no, my mother never has loved me. There was a lot of pain and grief that she is still unresolved in her relationship with her mother. And he said, well, I don't know what to tell you. All I know is what's on the card. And she knew that the universe, there was no trick there. She is the one who chose that card. And she came out crying and she said, maybe my mother's loved me all along. And I watched this woman she's famous for her anger. She walks around really stiff and hard and angry. She softened so much it brought me to tears over an image on a card. And it's like, that is such perfection, even though we don't see that subtle stuff come our way, unless we realize that our mind is the problem. It is how we perceive. It is our way of thinking that says, I'm not lovable. How can I be loved? And it's like, how can you not be loved? Because that's all there is. But it's invisible. We have blinders on. It's like we beat the drum of our victimization, Stop it. Our parents did the best they could. Our grandparents did the best they could with the information they had at the time. And then we had all of these thinkers who have revolutionized the way that we live our life. So much so that it's taken us almost 100 years to get to the point where Tesla's dream is about ready to happen. It takes time in terms of this physical information that we have, this lifetime where we work out our issues. And God says, take all the time you want. You're infinite. You're immortal. Who cares how much time it takes? But to trust that the universe has got your back, that you are that which is God, you can absolutely rely on. And it doesn't matter that you're walking around, I'm unlovable, I'm no good. Stop it. It is time for you to move into who you are as an evolutionary being who chose to be at this time, in this frame of mind, to learn these things so that your little incandescent bulb shines bright. And what that does, then it beacons out to everyone else who hasn't got the message yet, who's out there in those other churches and other belief systems that do not permit them such a blasphemous thought. So doing my research, I came across some beliefs that Ernest Holmes published in the 1920s, and I wanted to share them with you if you don't mind. It is the core of his beliefs, and I wonder, they certainly are mine as well, and I am so grateful for his incarnation bringing this belief system so that I could be here this morning in the evolutionary place that I am, because I am looking so forward now that I'm beginning to trust and getting out of my own way to see the solutions, the uncommon solutions that the universe has for me. Because we're all one, so what happens to me happens to all of us, and vice versa. He says, I believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. 2, I believe in the incarnation of the Spirit in all, and that we are all incarnations of the one Spirit. 3, I believe to the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. 4, I believe that the kingdom of heaven is within me, and that I experience the kingdom to the degree that I become conscious of it. 5, I believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete emancipation from all discord of any nature and every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. 5, I believe in the unity of all life and that the highest God and the innermost God is one God. 6, I believe that God is personal to all who feel the indwelling presence. I believe in the direct revelation of truth through my intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of the truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. I believe that the universal spirit, which is God, operates through a universal mind, which is the law of God, and that I am surrounded by this creative mind, which receives the direct impress of my thought and acts upon it. I believe in the healing of the sick through the power of the mind. I believe in the control of conditions through the power of the mind. I believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal loving kindness, and the eternal givingness of life to all. And finally, I believe in my own soul, my own spirit, and my own destiny, for I understand that the life I live is God. If you're interested in those, it's on Wikipedia. Wikipedia? Under Ernest Holmes. This is the gift he brought us. And we have each one have a very, very special gift, a very special form of love, a very special way, style that we offer spirituality, God, if you will, source. Please do not disrespect yourselves regardless of where you judge yourself to be on the evolutionary scale. You are precious. You are love. Trust it. And look back in your own life and see where God has been there for you when you didn't think there was anything or anyone else who could come to your aid. But it's always been there. Always. And will remain so. Thank you.